The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting group. Get involved with Access Fort Wayne and make your own television programming. Call 421-1250 to find out more.
Well, the midnight headlights blind you on a rainy night. Steep grade up ahead, slow me down, making no time. But I gotta keep rolling. The windshield wipers slap out of tempo, keeping perfect rhythm with the song on the radio. But I gotta keep rolling. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a better way for me. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a sunny day for me. Oh, well, the midnight headlights blind you on a rainy night. Steep grade up ahead, slow me down, making no time. But I gotta keep rolling. Those windshield wipers slapping out of tempo, keeping perfect rhythm to the song on the radio. But I gotta keep rolling. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a better way for me. Ooh, I'm driving my life away, looking for a sunny day for me.
And vacated in 2012. This is what we hope will become our Harvester Homecoming Museum. All donations go toward that end. All of this property, there's 143 acres that the city bought. Fort Wayne bought this from Bill Bean, who used to own it. The city paid $6.3 million for all this property, and these companies here that rent space pay the city for rental. As you see, different businesses are on this property. Now we're heading for the vehicle acoustic sound pad that was used for testing noise, decibels, and pass-by horn noise, and soon will no longer be part of the property, likely will be demolished by the city. Trucks went down here about 45 miles an hour and had speakers on each side to pick up noise from exhaust and engine noise. Their speakers are torn down. You might see a few of them yet. And some junk cars are for sale if you want to buy them.
Man, I got enough on my phone.
It's a way to improve the exhaust and the noise from the engine and the horn. They tested the horn.
Was this building part of it?
Yeah, this is part of the acre.
Okay.
Storage, they had a bunch of different stuff in there, but they needed for testing sound. They used to have the test track for speed way out on Oxford Extended in Fort Wayne south of here. That's been sold. Another business owns the speed track. They called it the test track. This is a sound test track. If you have any questions, speak up.
Where's the jail gonna be if they build it?
I'm glad you asked. Back there by all those big trees, they're gonna bulldoze that and get ready to build the jail and let us stay in this property for a little while until they need it, because the city owns it now. Amstar don't own it, Bill Bean doesn't own it, they own all that. But as you've probably been keeping track in the Journal-Gazette, they tried to get a tax, a 0.2% tax, and it didn't pass. So now the jail's on hold.
What's the future of this engineering area?
The city owns it, and so far they are nice to us to let it here until they need it for money. If they want to rent it for other businesses, they may kick us out.
Where would everybody go with these trucks then, if they did?
Well, we're looking for your garage or maybe some of your property, you know. We're willing to take anything where we can put all this stuff. Right now, he's happy with it the way it is.
Yeah, it's really good. It's too bad it can't be permanent.
Right. Too bad it can't be permanent, but it's so expensive to buy it. We're hoping people will loan or just let us on property. We're looking for things.
I'd like the county to sell it to us.
Right, exactly. If they got a good price. It's good that we can get backers like Sweetwater's helping us, Amstar's helping us. Volkswagen owns us now, owns Amstar, and they're helping us a little bit. This guy in his little cart here runs this whole place now, the museum. He's Ryan Duvall. He's the #1 guy. You know, General Motors has a problem getting chips to make them run and carriers to carry them around the country, because Ford Motor Company, Chrysler, Nissan, Toyota all want those carriers on the road and on the railroad. Hard to get the carriers.
Try to pack in like soybeans.
They're still rolling in for...
Look at the line there.
Golly.
Yeah.
You got that right. Good.
Thank you.
Well, I went through
Clear on
the
the left.
East Gate a lot.
Yeah.
You come in this end.
Yeah, we used to park right here.
Pull up here, I'll see what you do. I don't get this. Go right about this. Good.
He said, hell, they started out at $3.50 an hour. He said, that was definitely money in 1956.
What's in the old scout building?
What's that again?
The old scout building?
Yeah.
What's in there?
We're going backwards. That should be open.
And watch your hat.
We haven't
Flying off here. This little shit will
They
run.
don't know.
Right
We're
here.
coming the other way.
It runs pretty good. I can't believe how many. That's good.
There's a parking lot right here where I park every day to go in to my plant where I work.
Yeah, we do. They did too.
Yep, park here. Now you can see there all those General Motors trucks, pickup trucks, GMC and Silverados, Sierras. They need, the General Motors said that they need to go in a place where it's protected with a chain link fence to avoid vandals. So they pay rent to city to rent space to park there. General Motors is getting ready for a strike. They're building up. They keep production. They're getting ready for the strike. This is that big 3-story building is where they build seats for the Scouts. Used to.
Yeah.
Maybe you guys remember that. This is the whole Scout building here, all of it. Nothing's in there anymore. They're building refrigerators. Big refrigerators.
Refrigerated trucks, trailers.
Yeah.
Refrigerated trailers, yeah.
These are the trailers, and the other side is the pods, where you can rent them and set them down anywhere. Tipman, a guy named Tipman owns all this now. Rents it out.
Scout
This
plant parked right out in there somewhere.
Yep. That was the old Scout parking lot.
Yep.
See more refrigerated units for rent.
A lot of guys that park over here and walk over to the
Other side.
yeah.
Yeah, I walk back and forth across the railroad track.
Yep, this was the Scout Assembly Plant. The building was built by Studebaker and the U.S. government during World War II as a facility to make parts for the Wright R-1820 engines and the B-17 that were assembled in South Bend. To help the facility precision controlled machining, the building was originally air conditioned and had no windows. It was later sold to U.S. Rubber Company and eventually to Harvester. Scouts were built here from 1960 to 1980 and from 1960 to 1968 on the west side of the building was a heavy duty assembly line for the
Especially on this side, it smells really. I don't know what this paint is here, but
This here was a power plant for the Scout Assembly Plant. It provided electricity for the facility. You see more refrigerated units. Yeah. These two doors on the left of it, on your left here, was where the finished Scout came out. If they needed repairs, they parked them in the lot, take them back in to change the speedometer, put a radio in. And in this other building, the seat building was also special decals that Scout owners wanted. They put the decals on their Scout before they bought them.
Jason would like to come along on this ride.
Any questions? Right here, Ford, they got a lot of refrigerators. This used to be North American Van Line's offices right here on the right. Now Tipman owns it for these refrigerators. The brick building over to my right over here was a Three Rivers Credit Union at one time for the Harvester. Now it's just a medical center.
I can't remember that credit.
Three Rivers is around Fort Wayne.
In 1935, Three Rivers opened our doors as a financial cooperative for the hardworking employees of International Harvester. We've seen our members through good times and hard times, through war and through peace. We've helped them get their first cars and houses, helped their kids go to school. Our name may have changed, but our commitment hasn't. Experience 80 years of helping people understand money matters every day. Learn more at threeriversfcu.org/80.
You probably know there's a lot of Three Rivers Federal Credit Unions around Fort Wayne.
Yep, I still belong.
You know your block number?
Yep. 25101, that's me.
Remember your number?
Oh, yeah.
Wow. You remember your number.
Well, I belong to the Three Rivers Credit Union, and I still use that number at the credit union.
Oh, what a deal. Member number. I remember that. I think this used to be Phelps Dodge. Anybody remember Phelps Dodge? Here's Ray Magnet Wire. A lot of wiring. Huge building. All through right into the parking lot. Ray Wire. And there's Gladio, what's left of Gladio Refinery. Oil. Oil tanks. They provided fuel at the time. They provided fuel for Harvester.
Where's this thing right there? Man, that's a rough ass crossing. Where's the piston factory at up here?
We're coming up to Zellner. We're coming up to it soon. Zellner Piston.
Yeah, that's who, that's where the Detroit Pistons, they used to be the Fort Wayne Pistons, and they moved up to Detroit.
Yeah, I used it.
Red zone. I seen a Piston game.
Sign company must have been pissed at them people, both their signs are upside down.
The gymnasium.
Probably didn't pay their
biggest
bill.
one in
Yeah,
Fort
oh,
Wayne.
fix you.
I think they played the Rochester Royals and
Used to be a
Minneapolis
bank
Lakers.
here. All this glass. It's an engineering building now, not for Harvester. Another company owns this. Used to be a bank. On your left, I think that was Magnabox. Magnabox, big building here, used to be Magnabox. I don't know what it is now. And we're coming up to Zellner Pistons building here. Manufacturing. I don't know what's going on in there now. They still got the Zellner sign. And now this is the big Archer building. It's all storage. Anything you want to store there, any company. And off on your right here used to be the local 57 union office. It's demolished. It don't exist anymore. And this other building here used to be the coach room. Guys would come out of the plant noon lunchtime, drink 2 beers, and run back to work. Would you want to buy a car after a guy drank 2 beers, built your truck?
The tavern was real close to the
Now off to your right, this used to be the credit union. Now it's just a car repair shop right here.
Yep.
Used to be the first branch office for sales and trucks.
Yes, that too.
Credit union used to be there. That's where I joined the credit union. Right there. Yep.
Harvester Credit Union, then it changed to Three Rivers, then it moved. And now the building on the right here, all these windows is where they would repair the finger lift trucks for the plant. They'd come over to the plant to get repaired and get back. Maintenance repair. The tower, if you can see the tower up there, Up on the top was the whistle. You could hear it all over Fort Wayne at 7 a.m. every weekday. Whistle was real loud, steam whistle, very loud. 7 a.m. and 3:30. And inside that brick building is a water tower that supplied the plant. It's all rusty now, they don't use it.
I was up here one, like 2:30 in the morning, but I'm a truck driver. I had delivery over there, so I'm sitting over there just killing time. I heard a commotion.
Get a hold of John.
So anyway, I look out.
Where it came, it got a cut through, and on the other side, on the far right, was our employment office. Now, on our right here is a machine shop. All the machines are taken out. They put other stuff in there. It used to be a flea market right after the Harvester closed. Flea market, but it was not very successful. So now it's just storage. You can see some signs up here. Businesses that go on, technology. On the left, far left start was A-line, B-line, where the trucks are built. A wall goes clear out to the other end of the building. Built the trucks from the start with axles, frames. They put the engines in, and they got the cabs, come out the end of the building, put all the parts together from nothing to something. And up on my left, a bare spot up here by this white building, that used to be the power plant. They used steam, coal-fired steam, with tubes underneath all this property to send hot steam to the radiators. Maybe you might remember hot steam radiators from 50, 60, 70 years ago. It's been demolished.
Yeah, I got a burn on my hand.
On your left was the die shop that built the dies for the Ford shop that hammered the steel, hot steel, and then the heat treat is coming up to our left. It's all been leveled. It's a parking lot. They bulldozed it, made a parking lot.
Did they have a foundry up here?
Yes.
Okay.
They have heat treat and the Ford shop, they could call that the foundry, where they made hot steel and pounded out parts, and then machined them on my left, from on my right side here, machined the parts. Axles, connecting rods, everything. The parts we can build ourselves are built here.
I remember going to see the
Remember what?
the house, to the Ford shop. Seeing the Ford shop when I was only about 7 or 8 years old.
Wow.
They had open house when they remodeled the A and B line.
Wow.
We got a little history about it.
Around 1960.
It was quite the place.
Yeah, the engine factory in Indy. They started building them power strokes. They had 200. Yeah, they ran 3 shifts, 7 days a week.
On the other side of this fence, this cyclone chain link fence, this rusty one, it was called Camp Scott, according to WayneMarketing.com, to the southwest of Fort Wayne operation along Oxford Street. And Camp Thomas Scott, the camp was originally a training center for the Army Railroad Operating Battalion. In September of '43, machine gun towers and barbed wire fencing appeared along Moeller Road and Wayne Trace. Soon after, more than 600 German prisoner of wars taken from North African campaign, mostly from Field Marshal Erwin Rommel's famed Africa Corps, arrived to live in this camp frame and tar paper houses. The training facility closed in November of '45. Today it has been converted into a stormwater treatment wetland by the city of Fort Wayne. The only remnants of the military camp remaining are the old telegraph poles along the north fence line of the property. The big brown building over there on my right is the ND warehouse. 300,000 square feet building was built in '58 to warehouse and receive, inspect, and store production parts. In the late '70s, the automatic high-rise was added. Since then, the high-rise has been removed. And farther down behind that was National Parts Distribution Center. All service parts and for dealers were located and processed here. Claimed to be the largest parts distribution center in the world at that time. The Ford Shop and Eatery was down in this area off to the left here. It's just a parking lot.
Monster building where they process the military trucks through.
Yeah.
Government inspector will be in there one.
Any questions?
They make transmissions up here too.
Not at this location, but parts that goes in it.
Okay.
And then at the time, Indianapolis had an engine plant that built the engines and trannies. When we had a Harvester engine, then it went out. And then Ford had a big order of their engines that we made for Ford with a contract. That plant is closed. There was a foundry in Indy for Harvester. It's been closed.
Oh, that factory's tore down.
What? I didn't hear it.
They tore that factory down.
Yeah, it's gone.
Yeah, they.
That's the door there I used to come out of. Right there.
My dad and grandfather retired out of there.
The gate's open.
Oh, it's open.
Here's where the guard check was. You had to have a pass, Harvester pass to get in, and open your lunch box when you had to go out to make sure you're not stealing a radio or a speedometer gauge.
I remember that.
Damn strike. Fucking Union. Johnny Cash ruined it all.
I'm 15 to start here. I never seen so big a private. My co
Oh.
Be careful.
Yeah, the engine plant was pretty cool. Boys out ever got to take a tour. But they'd start you out in the foundry and they'd show you how they'd make, the castings, and then, they'd make the box and all that. And then you go down to the assembly line. I mean, that was good. That was an interesting tour. But just like Farmall, we got a tour of that, when I was a kid. And the tractor starts at the back hump. And then they just build forward on the frame, and then they throw the engine and all that shit in there, transmission, and bam, bam, bam.
Dolphins are funny when you watch Hi out there, this is Wesley's TV, and we wanted to bring this to you. It's a special message about the downtown scooters. We just wanted to let you know that there has been some accidents out there with a few people, and the message we wanted to bring to you is to be very careful on the scooters, because there has been some mischief out there with people that's been riding them. They've been removing bolts and stuff. They've been jumping stairs and stuff also, ramps, a few other things. Be watching and be very careful, be vigilant, and make sure there's nothing wrong with the scooter before you ride it. And make sure you wear helmets and maybe some elbow and knee pads, stuff like that, just to be on the safe side. Because the reason I say that is my friend Wesley here rode a couple. He ended up in the hospital ER a couple times because of it. So I just wanted to bring that to you. And Wesley, he's got a few things he wants to say also. So I'm going to hand you over to Wes.
Yeah, like Wes was saying, double check the balls, because there's been a number of them I've been seeing around town with balls being missing ever since the accident I have. Don't be stupid like me and ride on gravel. That makes the situation even worse.
Yep, it does.
And two people on each one.
Yeah, oh yeah. Also too, there is a stipulation. You have to be 18 or older, and there's only allowed one person on the scooter. So you need to pay attention to their rules for the scooter. You cannot be under 18, and there can only be one person per scooter. So please pay attention to the rules so nobody can get hurt. And make sure there's nothing wrong with the scooter. If there's anything wrong, you need to turn it in to the people that own the scooters for the downtown area. They say please take a picture of it or call them, let them know there's something wrong with the scooter, let them know which one it is. Basically, they say take a picture of it so they know which one it is, so they can take care of it.
And report it on the app.
And report it on the app. Let them know where it's at so that they know where to come and get it so they can fix it. You have anything else, Wes?
And I think we got mostly all.
Okay. Again, people, this is just a precautionary measure. We're not trying to tell you not to ride them, because it is a fun thing to ride, and it does.
And it's another way to get around.
Yeah, it's another way for you to get around so you don't have to walk. And we're not trying to downplay the scooters. They're nice people, and they try to help you out. We're just letting you know that to be cautious, because there is some people that try to be vicious and mean to make it hard for people so that they can't ride the scooters. So just be vigilant and be very cautious, and look out for missing bolts and whatever else there might be wrong with the scooters.
Door handles.
Yeah.
So I had that happen way once.
Yeah, just be very cautious and make sure there's nothing wrong with the scooter before you ride it. And
if you start noticing, then don't. Just stop riding it right away.
Yeah, you gotta let them know that there is something wrong with that scooter. And pay attention to the rules, please. Have a good day, and this is Wesley's TV. Talk to y'all later. Have a good day.
Sorry. Honey, let's go look down here. It goes on every 5 minutes.
Excuse us. Okay. So the thing on the door said this was the stress lamp. It doesn't look like anything that it looked like before. So is he going to react to us? You want to watch the robot talk or no? Hello.
Whatever they want.
What's that? It's not. What's that? So where there's concrete here, there used to be a steel bed plate. So it's a piece of steel that has slots cut in it, so we could bolt stuff down to it. So we really did kind of two things to understand what was going on in here. So first off, we could pull parts to failure. We bolt them down to the bed plate. We'd use the overhead hoist. We'd put something called a load cell, something that measures load, into the chain between between the parts, so we know what load we're applying to a part, and we could pull it to failure. We could also pull on it and measure how it's responding to load. So what to do that, we would put something called a strain gauge on it. It's a little electrical instrument that would get glued down to the surface. You're shaking your head like you know what I'm talking about. We glue it down to the surface. It would stretch and compress with the part. So as the part got longer, it would get longer. If the part got shorter, it would get longer, shorter. And as it changed length, the resistance of the wire in there would change. You could hook that up to a electrical circuit and measure that change in resistance and understand what was happening in the part. So sometimes when we put the loads on it, we put strain gauges on it first to figure out how the part is responding to that load. Now, figuring out where to put the strain gauge is always kind of a challenge. Today, that challenge is solved by the computer. We make computer models, and they tell us where the part is likely to break and which direction it's likely to break, so we can know where to put the strain gauge. Before we had that computer power, we would spray a brittle paint coating on the part ahead of time, and we put a little bit of load on it. The brittle coating would break first in the spot with the highest loads on it. And that would tell us where to put the strain gauge. So engineers have solutions. Computers have changed those solutions to problems that we do today. You know, have you used brittle lacquer before?
I have not, but, you know,
Okay.
I know about all that stuff.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's lots of cool tools. Do you ever work with the Spate system?
No.
Okay. So,
I'm in
basically,
casting right now.
okay.
Transfer.
It's a thing that if you excite the part in vibration, that vibration causes the part to deform, which causes the part to friction in the part, which releases heat. That heat signature, you can tell what the stresses are. So a lot of this was either offices or electrical labs. There's an engine display in here if you want to come back to it. Again, that was really just electrical offices in the past. So some of the office area is a little bit creepy for people who worked here before, because if you'll notice when you look in there, the offices are all still set up. So, my first office when I started was in this room, but in the back where there's still some offices set up, I can tell you which one was mine because it's still there. So it's a little bit creepy from that perspective. And sometimes it just feels like somebody dropped, what is it called, a neutrino bomb, the one that kills all the people but doesn't damage anything. You know, somebody dropped one of those and, you know, everything's still there. So. Okay, so we had, it was called a scanning electron microscope, but basically it's a high magnification camera. So this will give you some idea because that's a bee's eye. We were capable, I think it was to 2,000 times magnification. Now, engineers don't really care, truck engineers don't really care about what a bee's eye looks like, right? So it's really just that's just a demo perspective, right? So why we care is because when we want to look at a failed part and we don't understand why it broke, the actual surface where it broke can give us a lot of information about that. And we need to see that in much higher detail than what we can see with our eye. So if I gave you a paper clip and I asked you to pull it apart, could you do that? Just grab a metal paper clip and just do this and pull it apart? Nobody could, right? If I asked you to break it, could you figure out how to break it? What would you do? Well, good luck with that. No, maybe, but it'd be pretty hard to get hold of that little round thing and twist, right? What about if you bent it back and forth? Right, you do that 3 or 4 times and it's in 2 pieces, right? So how something is loaded, what the loads on it are, will change how it breaks and how easy it is to break. So by looking at that fracture surface, we can tell if it happened in one big load or if it happened in lots of little loads, whether that load was pulling it and pushing it or whether that load was bending it or twisting it. So by looking at that fracture surface, we can do that, but we would need high magnification to do that. So that's the purpose of that. Now you can probably do it with your iPhone, right? I think mine's capable of 20x. It's not, so it's nowhere near 2,000. When this building was originally built, they really lacked heating and air conditioning, and they didn't need it because the heating was brought from the plant. So within the plant process, there is a lot of heat generated. We call it waste heat. It's just going to get lost to the environment. they used it to heat water, and they piped the water over here. So then the hot water over here was used to heat this building. So in winter, everybody knew where the pipes ran because there was no snow on the ground. Because you were dropping, 100-degree water underneath the ground or something like that. So when you look at some of the old vehicles here, you're going to notice very little things that are not metal on them, right? We as humans have understood steel, aluminum, that type of stuff for a long period of time and used it back into way before any of us were born. Plastics, what's the movie, The Graduate? Anybody watch that movie, The Graduate? With Dustin Hoffman? And it's that he recommends, at one point they recommended their invest in plastics, and that was like 1960s. And people should have paid attention to that movie because plastics have really dominated an awful lot of what's in products today, right? We've become a very throwaway society because the metal, if it breaks, you can take a welder or pull down a scab plate or whatever, but if plastic breaks, into the garbage it goes, right? So it's become a throwaway society, and it's kind of great for plastics because, well, it breaks, just, buy another plastic one. So there's lots of it. Most of your interior, and a lot of your exterior is no longer metal. It's either plastic or fiberglass, and so it's stuff that we had to really learn and get a handle on. What can you do with it? How can you form it? And how does it carry loads? So we had a whole department back here just dedicated to testing testing non-metals. So plastics were being used in place of metals, and then rubber is used to allow things to move with respect to each other. So when you drive down the road and you're next to a tractor trailer out on the road, you probably see the cab going like this, like plus or minus 6 inches, right? I mean, it's not trivial, right? And there's a rubber bag back there that's filled with air. 2 of them. Well, yeah, 2 of them. That's allowing that motion to happen, right? And that motion helps protect the driver, and it also helps protect the cab. Allows the cab to live for a lot longer because it's dropping the loads, and it's replacing where that energy is coming in by hitting holes in the road. Instead of it going into loads that are going into the cab and into the driver, it's going forcing motion. Now, the downside of forcing motion, sometimes people get a little seasick if you let too much of it happen. So, but we had to do a lot with both metal and with both plastics and fiberglass and rubbers because we needed them.
Our tour guide was telling us that there's been a lot of businesses in here that rented space out, rented space. Yeah, so, That's right.
Okay, this is called our hot room. And it's called a hot room because we pull hot air out of it. So we were capable of blowing out 100 degree Fahrenheit air at 10, 15, 30 miles an hour.
These were engine test labs. So the cool part is that underneath this hallway is a hallway downstairs that had all the plumbing for fluids and coolants and water and other things. It also served as a tornado shelter for 1,200 people when bad weather was here. When I started here in the mid-'80s, this little room housed all of the electronics folks. There were only a handful. How much it's changed now, it's a major group. And that end of it was walled off, and I got my MBA sitting in live televised classes here after work. But again, over time, things change. I can't tell you much about this because I never got involved in it when it was working, but that building outside was a clutch test area, whatnot, where they could spin up clutches and things to test what happens at very high speeds to see if they would explode or were imbalanced, not properly made. So there were some very, very unique test facilities. As electronics grew, at one point in time, this whole room was electronics engineers. And actually, after this, it went upstairs, and they took the whole upstairs. This portion of the building has another layer above us.
Yeah.
There's a tunnel underneath and another room above us. And there were cubicles for close to 1,000 people here. One heck of a lot of computers. You ready for the first tour of the week?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I'll give a couple little ones to practice. So.
Okay. Unless you got practice, I'll let you do the talking.
First, come on in here.
I'm going to stay with you. I'm just going to let you through this.
Is that it?
Oh, a couple more.
25 years of practice.
This is our, what we call cold room, cold environmental chamber, test chamber. It, I think after they did a refurb on the compressors up there, we had it down to 50 below one time. And originally it was designed to go down to 100, I think, for military test work requirements and stuff, but.
You know how you have 2 panes of windows on your windows? Look at that window there on how many panes of glass, since it's
About
50
6
below
panes
in there.
It was always interesting to me when you come in here, you look in there and you never knew the temperature because there was no environmental, there was no snow, no wind. Well, there was wind, but there was nothing to see it blow, you know. So you never knew what the temperature was. It looked like you could be 30 degrees out when you looked in there, but.
You knew something had gone wrong on a project if it was ever running this time of year, because it's really expensive to take the temperature down when the temperature outside is through the.
Yeah. It's one of the deals over the years in smaller units where they'd run a reefer unit to simulate cells, test smaller projects.
You're allowed to go in and see the truck in the cell if you want to go in.
It's not having it here, but we used to use about a 3-gallon external lubrifier can without the filter in it. And that's the way we supplied fuel. That way you didn't have to heat the whole fuel tank or whatever. We'd have battery blankets, thermal blankets around 110, and then we had the lines with, like you put on your pipes.
What it is so much in Canada and Alaska, there's a lot of equipment went up there, so yeah.
Yeah, well, and I mean, even to test it in here, you had to have the fuel where it's low.
Yeah.
Because it wasn't outside supply here. Used to be there was test cells along the hallway and they had fuel come in through the tunnel. But when we were in here, that's the tank farm and all that was gone.
Okay.
And originally this had a set of dyno rolls back there, you can see that. They had removed them before I started. I didn't start till 98 when they came up with the NGD project, they called it. But, you had to hook up your, and then not only, I mean, we did our steering work, so if you had 20,000 pound front axle, most of the time we had a load for the road work and then came in here and did this towards the end. So you might have 40,000 pounds of iron on the back that you had to pull the heat out of too, so.
You made me think of things about what you were just saying. The cab that was developed in the late 90s is still the one that's in production today, not this one.
No.
But the one that's on the medium and heavy duty trucks was
Yeah.
developed in the late 90s and went into production in the early 2000s.
This cab I thought had been moved around, redeveloped.
Yes, many times. The prints for that cab were from the early 60s. And when we developed the truck for Caterpillar, it was still using a modified version of that cab.
Yes. And there's still some of them around.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But the tooling processes and tolerances changed so dramatically, that cab, by today's standards, is an absolute nightmare. Yeah, tooling processes, there weren't CAD systems and things back then.
Well, thank you for coming, folks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
This reminds me of another change that occurred here very gradually over time. When I started here in the mid-'80s, there were still a lot of drafting boards. People were using pencil and paper and vellum and whatnot to do drawings. But in the mid-'80s, we had the first CAD system that could do two-dimensional line art. Then years later, it became three-dimensional, so you could have lines. You'd have, if you
carve, and we have these beautiful little steel things here that you can actually shave real carefully.
Guys
so that
painted
stays.
them eagle brooms, they
So
still
you get a nice flat, true surface.
painted this eagle one.
Come
The
down the
first
side
one
like
was
that.
painted down the road here, about a block down the road.
You can see how that,
And
you can get all the bumps out. There's some bumps in there, I want to fill those in, so I just put a little clay on that, and eventually we just get rid of it, and it becomes nice and smooth again, like that. So that's, now it's all fair. And then, if I found my knife, I don't know what I did with my knife. Let me get this one out. I gotta. And then we can put the windows in. I used to be not so shaky.
Down the road, and it was like a 2-day project or something. We had a truck down here, and they'd already done sketches with different ideas now. This is the one I want to run with, so then the next step is to develop.
And we could actually carve those in there if we wanted to later on, so that it looks real. And I use these things over here. These are called sweeps. So if I grab one of these, let's take this as an 1/8 of an inch sweep. You can see the curve on it come down. See how it's curved?
Yeah.
Okay. So we can put that up here like that, and hold that up there, and then draw a line on there. And that makes this nice line to start with. So that might be where we would put the break in it, or like come up and model up and then model that way a little bit, or put an undercut in. So that's, and then this device here measures height. See, I wanted to figure out exactly how high that is. I would tick a point there, and I would come around here with the other side of it. Say I want to get this one. Let's do this. It's already set up. So this is on the center line right here now. Actually, it's not. It got moved, so let's move it back. So move it right to there. So that makes this nice center line all the way up. And then sometimes in order to see this as a full model, we would put a mirror up here on this. The mirror would go behind it, and it would look like a full truck.
Oh, wow.
So and then we can measure in with a measuring device and say that's 32 in.
Last minute, no one's behind me. It's okay. Oh, oh God. Of course, yeah. Go ahead. I'm not doing anything. Take your time. Thank you.
Okay, hit the fire hydrant.
Daddy!
That you travel on, there's one day here and the next day gone. Sometimes you bend, sometimes you stand, sometimes you turn your back to the wind. There's a world outside every darkened door, where blues won't haunt you anymore, where the brave are free and lovers soar. Come ride with me to the distant shore. We won't hesitate to break down the garden gate. There's not much time left today. joy.